Hey, party people. I wanted to comment briefly on my recent upload where I discussed Jason Trivium's video, Presuppositionalism Refuted? Question mark. And the subsequent Google Hangout with the Bible-thumping wingnut Matthew 4:19 and Colin Pearson. And I mentioned in my video this whole concept of atheist presuppositions, and I said that I agreed with the panelists that we have them. And I wanted to clarify my position on that a little bit. I've noticed there's still quite a bit of resistance from the atheist camp in accepting that label of presupposition, and I think I understand why. I just personally don't think that it's that much ground to give up in the discussion, and I think it's ground that's going to be contested anyway. We sort of run the risk of just getting bogged down in this in semantic games and sort of being accused of denying the presuppositions that we have. And I think the argument can easily be made. Now, I understand the semantics of it are troublesome. The term presupposition itself is troublesome. Perhaps preconclusions might even be better. We don't really have a word that adequately defines it, but essentially, we don't enter every situation or every philosophical discussion analyzing it in its entirety from the ground up. We do bring certain pre-conclusions into the situation or into the discussion. We don't sort of start at the nature of reality and work our way up every time. We have many pre-conclusions that we bring, and they may be more or less rigorous pre-conclusions, but nonetheless, we do have them. And so I think our energy would be far better spent in pointing out the vast differences between the two different camps' versions of presuppositions or pre-conclusions, because I think that's where the rubber really meets the road. And I think we need to make sure that we're not letting them smuggle in certain assumptions with this assertion that we all have presuppositions. The assumptions really are that there's some sort of equality between the two, and there really isn't. And I think a comment that I saw on my channel that really encapsulated this was left by Gnomefro. The main reason I have issues with just piling on presuppositions about the reliability of various faculties is that such presuppositions will typically fail when they meet reality in the form of results from psychology and the hard brain sciences. Or at least they will have to be downgraded to a point where it becomes pointless to hold the presupposition to begin with. And I think this is great. I think this hits really the nail on the head, because what I'm reading there is that we will have these presuppositions or preconclusions until we start to get beat up by the evidence or feedback, at which point we will modify them. And that's obviously a very key difference. I thought a really interesting quote from the Google Hangout on the Bible Thumping Wingnut show was when Colin Pearson said, "We all have presuppositions that we take to the evidence." And I think those are the statements that we need to not let them get away with. They're smuggling in an awful lot of assumptions with a statement like that. Because essentially what's really happening here is the presuppositional apologist is saying feedback be damned, evidence be damned. The presupposition is going to remain intact. And of course, this is not an equivalent presupposition or preconclusion that an atheist would have, where we're saying, no, well, listen, I am going to be subservient to the evidence or the feedback. We will modify our presuppositions as need be. So again, I think that it's not a lot of ground to give in the discussion. I think it gives an opportunity to make sure we hone in on what really the distinction is that should be made, and to not let them get away with smuggling in a bunch of assumptions with a statement like, we all have presuppositions that we take to the evidence. So just my 2 cents. I look forward to your feedback on that, of course. Thanks for watching.